What's going on, everybody? How y'all doing? Welcome back to Endure, Believe, Rise. I hope this message reaches you in good energy. I hope you and your loved ones are in good health. So today, I wanted to talk about perseverance, refusing to give up, pushing through. So let's get into it because we have an awesome quote here today. Quote of the day: "The secret to success is refusing to give up. Perseverance transforms average everyday people into world champions." Billy Allsbrooks. Song of the day: "Creepin'," cover by Fame on Fire. So I feel like it's a redundancy to know that you have to stay with something to see it through. I feel like it's overly stated. You have to keep trying. You have to get up when you fall down. So cliche and so cringy are these words almost, right? But the reason we overstate it, the reason we talk about it so much is because there's so many people that are ready to quit at the first time of opposition. And there are also so many people out there who believe success should be easy. Even still, there's people who push through the first 2, 3 obstacles and don't realize even after you overcome those, there's still many more to come. See, perseverance isn't just continuing one day. Perseverance isn't just pushing through for a week. Perseverance isn't refusing to give up for a month. Perseverance is going until you get that goal. Continuing whether you're seeing momentum or not. Going and striving, making yourself do it even though the success may only be an inch at a time when we're trying to run a whole mile. So I want to give 2 stories, at least 2, about perseverance. And the first one goes back to my childhood. This is the era of the 90s. Super Nintendo, Genesis. These are the games systems that were out at the time. There was no internet. There was no online lobbies. This was the era of we all meet up at such and such's house. We bring some snacks and we run tournaments in one room. 15 to 20 of us, right? Street Fighter was the game. And we were all had our favorite characters, but most people picked Ryu and Ken. Regardless, the point of the story is loser gets off, winner stays on. That's how it plays. 2 people, 1-on-1, loser gets off, winner stays on. Eventually, you get beat, you have to get off the sticks, right? We had a young kid who was about 2 or 3 years younger than us at the time, if I remember right. He would come over and he would pick up the sticks as well. Never got a victory. And of course, we would ride him. We would get on him. We already know what's going to happen on this match. And yet every day he shows up that we play and he takes his turn just like everybody else. Never refused to play, never got upset about us, having fun at his expense. Always showed up. Eventually it got harder and harder to beat the kid. But we still beat him. Eventually he started winning rounds. But we would still beat him. Till it came the day he got his first victory. I don't know who was more excited or happy for him or us. The thing is, while he was happy, he didn't have a look of surprise on his face. We did, but he didn't. Almost to saying, no, I knew I would get at this point. The only question was how long it was going to take. See, that's perseverance. He became one of the best in our neighborhood. Right now, he works at an IT department. And he went on to mirror that love of computers and electronics into something successful. But the point is, even though he didn't see immediate success, he continued to beat and hone on his craft. Tell you another story, one of my favorites, because this guy I didn't like. And I'm working at a retailer, and I moved up fairly quickly to management. And they hired, of course, some more people. People come, people go in retail all the time. We get a guy in there who desperately from day one wanted to be in leadership. And from day one, I just knew he didn't have it. I didn't really like him personally, but I wasn't looking at that, right? That wasn't what was determining the factor of me saying, hey, he's not going to be successful in management. It was his tools. Now, excuse me, even though me and him had different disagreements, I still looked at his asset, his list of skills, right? And I knew, he knew, my boss's bosses, everybody knew he wasn't going to get into management. He didn't have what it takes. If we promoted him to this position, he would not be successful. And yet every time the position opened up, guess what? His name right there, wanting to be interviewed, wanting to be considered. And we go through the process, and we tell him no. The thing that made me say, he might have something there, was what he said when I was in my first interview with him. Because I would see him get rejected, but I wasn't part of the interview process until I got seasoned as a manager. So once I got in there, and at the end of the interview, or not the end of the interview, the end of the process when we called him in and we told him, hey, you haven't been selected. He said, thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate you taking the time to consider it. Here's the important part. What can make me a stronger candidate next time? And I gave him a list of things. He was already ready with a notepad writing them down. I said, all right, anything else I can do for you? He said, no. Shook all of our hands and left. And I said, hey, that's crazy. I said, you guys, hear what he said? He asked for how to get better. And they said, oh, yeah, he does that on all of them. At the end of every interview, he does that. I said, have y'all been giving him stuff? They said, well, we tell him work on his attendance and work on this. I said, but his attendance is already stellar. He hasn't missed any days. Well, we tell him to work on this. And I said, but he's already doing that. Y'all aren't giving him anything. They said, well, he's not the best. I said, okay. I started giving him stuff. I talked to other people who were willing to give him stuff. He started taking these things and doing it. And he continued to go to those interviews. And he continued to get denied. But he kept getting further and further in the interview process. And then one day, the email went out. And I wasn't part of that interview. I'm proud to say I was not part of that interview because I started to like the kid. And I'm glad there was no bias in the room. Because the email went out. He got promoted. He's part of the management team. See, that's perseverance. Trying for something, not getting it, and then doing whatever it takes to be better so you're more prepared when the opportunity comes around again. Refusing to give up. It took him a year to do that. You don't have to be born with the best. You don't have to be born in the greatest state of affairs, have the greatest foundation. You don't have to be born with an extreme amount of talent. But if you're persistent, you can develop a crazy, a great, an enormous, an unshakable set of skills. See, talent is God-given, and God is good, and God is great, and we are humble, and we are grateful for everything that He gives us. But talent comes easy. That means I was blessed with this height. I was blessed with this muscle mass. I was blessed with these circumstances. Skill takes a different type of talent. To develop skill, you have to have the talent of perseverance. You have to have the talent of saying, I'm going to do the research to see whatever it takes to get better. Skill is extremely difficult to develop, but it's possible. It's possible if you are disciplined. It's possible if you're willing to make the sacrifices. The secret to success is refusing to give up. No matter what you were born with, no matter how you start, if you're just an everyday average person with not a lick of talent, if you apply perseverance to your circumstance, it will transform you into a world champion. All right, guys, I need you to take care of yourselves. Please be kind to one another. Keep me in your prayers. I'll forever keep you in mind. Endure, believe, rise.